I'm here. Are you there?
Yes, I guess so. You're just
Beautiful.
clicking Zoom to
So we're
YouTube.
live.
Are we live?
We're live.
Yes. Hello, Giuliano.
Are you there?
I'm here. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So, clicking Zoom to
We're
YouTube.
live.
Yes.
Are we live?
We're live.
So, let's.
Hello, Giuliano. Are you there?
Voila. It's just like the synchronicity now. So I just need to find you. Okay. So it's nice to see you again now and to share about the healing and restore at the moment. So I want to share a bit about Giuliano. It has been how many years do we know each other's now?
I think almost a decade. We met back when I believe I was 20 or 21, and I'm 29 now. I'll be 30 in October.
Yes. Years keep moving.
And we keep growing, we keep evolving. But, I felt like, with some people that we meet, there's a resonance, there's a connection that we feel goes so much more beyond that moment of first contact. And I definitely felt this when I met you, and now getting to know you a little bit more over the years. I feel like just so much gratitude for these soul connections that bless us on the path. The opportunity to meet you and to study with you, and just to get to know you and see this beauty that you weave into the world with this child of yours with the Dharma method.
Okay, it has been a creation. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if it's really a child, but it would be very different because it would be, maybe walking on its own right now fully. And it has been really special to create that methodology through all the years of experience working with people. And actually, what really inspired me to create that way was noticing the benefit to support people to believe in themselves. Because being a healer is beautiful, to heal people, care for people in that way, but sometimes we cause like almost a codependence to people. So people call you like, I need healing, and then they go back to the habit. And then I need healing, and the tendency to go back to a habit very fast. And it's a bit what's happening now. Like some people were like up in confinement, and many people are now, oh, let's just go back to the habit. But that doesn't really work anymore. A big and profound transition is happening in the planet and in people's life. And that will mark for people to have the opportunity to grow and move forward. So this methodology was mainly brought together to be more like a coaching. And so it's supporting people to find really more their own tools. It's like a map, but it gives you the chance to find your own tool. And I think you Giuliano, are quite an example. What I like to do is that to see you grow and to see you find yourself, and then help other people also find themselves. And like that, we are all together. We are all authentic to each other's as well. So how has it been for you to notice also the certain ways to support people into a dharmic transition, like where you notice the healing, but yet also this restore, this possibility to create a new reality, this possibility to build up a new way into the life right away, to reprogram as well, not just let go of the past, but also reprogram the new.
This is a beautiful question. Just to give an example, recent example, one client that I was working with, she was in a certain situation, a certain experience, a certain pattern that was a fear to fully express herself. And when we entered into the Dharma session, we got to the point to see what exactly that was. What was that belief related to that? and
Mm-hmm.
seeing how that belief created a certain response mechanism to hold back an emotional response, and then even into her physical body, how her body responded. Passing through meditation, going right to the source, right to the root, and releasing that pattern. And it's now connecting with a positive intention of expression. From there, we were able to heal, and now comes the restore. So it's this positive intention coming out that is directly creating a new positive affirmation, a
Mm-hmm.
new expression, behavior pattern, a new emotional response, and even into the physical body. Now, from there, she felt inspired to reconnect with a project, with an idea, with the vision, a dream that she has to be an author. So the restore is really coming when that intention inspired her to begin writing every single day since that session.
Mm-hmm.
And we met again a week later. Every
Yes.
week we were meeting for almost 2 months. And she
Mm-hmm.
said, wow, I made so much progress. I've been writing every day, sometimes waking up at 3 or 4 in the
Mm-hmm.
morning, doing my meditation, and then going right to writing. And I feel every time I'm writing, I'm getting the goosebumps talking about this,
Oh, it's beautiful.
that, I'm really living my path, and I'm really
Mm-hmm.
embodying my calling. And most importantly, learning to listen to my heart, learning to trust that for a reason there's an inspiration that's inspiring me to go into a certain direction. And since I've been writing, I feel so connected with my creative energy that now I'm also doing this creative project and this creative project.
Yes.
And we can see how it's like a river. Sometimes we can get these big stones in the way,
Mm-hmm.
and the water has to find ways to go around it. When we recognize what that stone is, and we can pick it up and place it out to the side, the river can fully flow again. So it's like we can fully flow with our heart, our inspiration, our visions in a way that's harmonious, in a way that inspires us and
Mm-hmm.
restores us.
Yeah. It's really like that when we see here exactly what you described, that we see in the book Cycle of Evolution. It's like we notice certain pattern we are in, certain beliefs we are in, certain just like in the situation actually that has happened. We noticed many people had a belief about how life is, and a certain rhythm, that's life is this rhythm and I have to do that and I get there. And also certain pattern, like as soon as I feel an emotion, I go away from the house. When I feel emotionally, I go there, like certain pattern that we have. And it looks like so many people have passed through that lately into these last few weeks, even more than usual. Is we had to face those. They were right in front of us. It's like what I always believed in is that really the reality now. So when we go through those tools, we have a chance, it's like to go and see like right the point in the center here, which is like, actually, if I let go of that belief, I don't judge the belief is bad. I don't judge the behavior is bad. It has served us. It's certain ways we are in, and it worked for us for many times, for many years. But suddenly that doesn't work for us anymore. And I see that in my life also right away. I'm usually just here, there, there, there. And then I was like, actually, no, I'm here. And every time I was trying to go away, they were like, you are here. And it gives you the chance to go dig deeper. And when we take that opportunity to look behind that mask, like you said, like behind that fear or behind that insecurity, and you see what's the gift that is there just right behind, it's not so much out there. It's like when I go to Bali, then I'm happy. You can be happy here and maybe go to Bali with your happiness in your luggage into a light one, but building it up here. So it's when we go deep inside, that's where the true gift and really the source of creativity. Like I think the key, like what you just said, when we go through those maps, when we go through those inner process and inner quest, we find like a sparkle. Like I also did the map the other day, I do with you sometimes. It's beautiful. We need to keep doing trade like that. Love it. And but I did one the other day, and then I just hugged a tree because I'm in the forest, and it was like, oh my God, big tears coming in, and it was speaking to my soul and to my heart, and wow, it's like, actually, is that really my new vision? It inspires us to continue with the new. It's like a book. You don't always want to go back to the past story. You want to create the new. And that new is what you are training her now also to continue to write, to continue to pursue with new habits, with new ways of being. And also like to practice together. It's why I notice like personally the importance to also receive support. You know, Giuliano is like, has how many times like we, even that I'm the founder of the map, you have noticed even yourself like, oh my God, Christelle really needs it. And because we can see to a certain level alone, but there are certain deeper level that we just need a little, not a little, but we need someone on the other side that is just look at that part of yourself, because sometimes we speak about it but we don't really hear it. Have you noticed like this importance still like to co-work together?
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's quite a beautiful compliment because with the methodology, with the map, with the Dharmi, we do receive these tools that we can apply in our own lives, like the journaling every day to see what situations created stress and what situations was I able to really show up fully with the positive intention, just to take notes and to review every day. Also with the meditation, this can be practiced alone. And there's also a value of receiving support from somebody else because from this external perspective, the person that's guiding me is able to see what I'm not and is able to guide me to go into those places that are needing a bit of attention, that are needing a bit of care, that are needing to be explored. Many times it can be like a blind spot. But with your support, for example, I'm able to go directly to see what I didn't see before and gain new insight, gain new awareness, gain new understanding about which patterns, which habits I am engaging in, and whether or not they're supporting me to grow or keeping me in a space of stagnancy, kind of repeating the same thing over and over.
And then it clicks suddenly. Instead of repeating like in a hamster wheel, we suddenly have the declick, and the declick creates like more spiraling. And when we notice the transition into our cell memory, because it's deep in the cell memory, we can say, okay, I understood that's the way I need to be. Like a person I worked with a first session, and it was that, okay, a certain sadness, a certain heaviness on the heart, and a belief about like being lost and confused, and then always going like deep inward, and which was really wonderful. And then suddenly was like, okay, so now deep inside she found a resistance and a fear to something, but not really knowing what. And many times we're like, okay, I'm afraid of that, so let's just go to what's more comfortable. And this resistance usually, or this fear, it's not always something negative. Actually, what we notice really, I think, with that specific methodology is to notice that behind the fear, behind the resistance, there is something that wants to be born. And it's really inspired by those 5 elements of nature: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which are the elements of all natural evolution. We find it in the trees, in nature, in our inner ecology, in our inner self, through our breath, with the air, through our actions, with the fire, through our emotions and relation to the water, and through the physical embodiment through the earth. And it's like above this beautiful spark of human being, the human being is supposed to move. The human being is supposed to be like nature. And we notice now what have happened. It stopped people and it gives space for nature to reborn. And now is also the opportunity for the human being to stop limiting behaviors in order to grow and release those fears and habits that just keep us stuck. And every time we stay into a habit or in a core belief for too long, our blood cells, our physical health, our whole even nervous system get tight and stored. But if we give it the chance to just let that go, it's like the bloom, the organic and the natural way to grow and to continue to be alive. Like actually that example with that person was, to her place was like, okay, I just need to let go and relax and that's it, and not do anything. I say, okay, but not do anything with that cover, but give space for the other one to grow. And what came up into the new one, she said like, oh my God, if I stop, I still want to live. I just want to play. And I say, yeah, to stop doesn't mean to stay in front of the TV watching anything and eating chips. No, that's not it. And to stop is not blocking everything. It's more stop what holds you back. So you give a chance for your true natural rhythm and for your heart, really the heart from inside, to sing again. So it's really like this inner transition that we invite people when we work with those elements, like to refine the gift behind the fear, to refine the gift behind the core beliefs. What did you notice also? Have you also noticed that sometimes like people being just in the surviving mode and I'm just living that way because that's all I know? And then suddenly through a dharmic experience, like, actually, I can wake up in the morning and be alive and be happy about it and continue like nature to be in the rhythm of life.
Yeah, of course. I've noticed this over and over again, especially in myself.
Mm-hmm.
How many moments, especially during this isolation, where we were being asked to stay home. And when we're home, we're not doing so much attention to the outer world. So noticing how I have been responding to this, or to keep myself busy learning, or to keep myself busy painting, and then noticing all these different ways that I've been navigating this time, and saying, actually, maybe this is a really good time to explore my inner world and really check in and feel how I'm doing. I'm still waking up, practicing yoga and meditation almost every single day for the last decade. But sometimes sometimes it's helpful and valuable to go a little bit deeper once in a while. Like we take our car to the car wash every couple of weeks or once a month maybe, but every 4 months, every 6 months, we need to bring it to the mechanic and do like a deeper check and see, how is this vehicle? What's going on inside? And noticing there were some moments where I've never experienced anything like this in my life before. How do I respond? This is really fascinating for me. A new experience is an opportunity. In some moments, I was reacting based on patterns, which really ended up creating more stress and not being the most appropriate way to navigate this time home. But I got to see that, I got to notice that, I got to recognize that. And then there was a choice. Do I continue to go on autopilot? Or do I explore another perspective? Just take a break, 15 minutes, go outside, go for a walk in the neighborhood, just to change my energy a bit. And often in those times where I just take a break and go, usually connecting with nature is direct way to get this chance to center myself and align and just let go to any patterns that are contraction patterns of fear, of frustration. This is very much contracting my energy. So when I go and connect with nature, connect with these 5 elements, literally, I get to connect with this natural, expansive energy of life. The life force energy is expansive, it's opening always. And when I go breathe in this fresh air, or go look at the ocean, connecting with the water, or walking barefoot on the earth to ground my electromagnetic fields, or even connecting with the sun, this fire in the sky, I get the chance to receive this information, receive this energetic attunement, this harmony that I can tap into that reconnects me with my own inner harmony, with my own inner peace. And then from there, I usually receive an idea that is the solution or inspiration to approach whatever it is, new experience from a new way, a new response versus the same old reaction. That somehow this reaction was helping me, supporting me, leading me up until this moment now, but up to a certain point, it can only help me so far. And then right at that point is when I chose to develop a new response that would take me a little bit further. And
yeah, and this transition is always interesting to notice, because sometimes the contraction is necessary and the expansion to allow the expansion, because even the earth passed through contraction, expansion. Personally, my pattern would have been more like to just expand, move. That would be more like my usual pattern many times, just like, okay, what's more? When actually it was more like for me to contract some more, have given me the opportunity to grow more also in a different way, to englobe and to rekindle the different pieces of the puzzle. And when we tune into those elements, and like you speak about the magnetic field that we see in the vortex meditation and all those tools, the magnetic field is like the vital energy that moves through us. And it's like if you shake the hands and then you feel between the hands, there is something that is there that we can feel and perceive. It's like also working on the frequency we are in. And I notice when we do that map and we pass from one way of being, many times we attract certain situation in our life. And like I passed from map again last night, and then from the center, I had a light this morning, clear lights, and created a new map. And from that new intention inside and that new awareness, and through the day, I could notice like the resistance coming, and it's like a clip, clip, like it's a clip. We can speak to the people around us from this position with more clarity. We can speak to people from that new way of perception once we embody it, or we can speak to them from the other place. And we surprise people, because sometimes somebody came to me and just triggered exactly my response mechanism. And we are not aware of it because we are so much into it. And sometimes people tell me, yeah, but you see that. And I'm like, yeah, but we don't really. It's difficult to really see the subtle pattern we have. And then suddenly in the morning was like, actually, I'm embracing to a new way. I really welcome that welcoming, that openness to be really into the present moment with a frequency of love, with a frequency of caring for the people, really. And being into that new position, I always did care for the people. I think you know about that. But like another more subtle level of also valuing somehow who we are. Because when we go through those maps and when we awaken from inside, like those new potential, because we pass through this cycle of going inside, observing the pattern, look at what's the gift inside, and reprogram. The big aspect really into that methodology is that we give the tools to reprogram. And because we can heal, and we feel like we cleaned it all off. And then, but what do we do? It's like a little chicken there or little bird. And it's like, what do I do now? I don't know what to do. I have not my cocoon anymore, like a butterfly, but it hasn't learned to fly. So that's when we can into like reminding the people. All what we do is like reminding you that you know. We remind you that you do have the tools. We remind you of your own potential. That's why in this coaching methodology, we guide you, but you find your gifts. Isn't that really nice, Giuliano, when we guide other people and they go through the meditation, they find the gift behind, and then suddenly after the meditation, I'm always like, what did you find? It's, you know, when you take the position as the healer or the visionary, you go more into the people's stories. So it's like you go into the vortex, you go into their place. So, but there, no, we are there into more horizontal relationship. We are there to support you, but for you to grow. We don't put ourselves above you, that we know better than you. We do not, do we, Giuliano?
This is something that I value so much about this methodology, is that it's, and you've told me this since the beginning, since the first days that we met, when you were explaining what this methodology was. I was so curious to learn more about your magic. And you always told me it's not us telling the other person the answer. It's us as facilitators in that space of humbleness to just use the map, use the tools, follow the guidance, follow the steps, so that we can guide this other person, this client, to find it themselves. Because it's a lot more valuable if I tell you, you would make, you would be like a very powerful painter. You have a gift of art and creation that is absolutely magnificent, versus somebody feeling that and receiving that wisdom and that inspiration themselves. It came from them. We guide people to learn how to reconnect with themselves, how to reconnect with their heart, how to reconnect with their inner being, so that they themselves can navigate their world and navigate their reality, which is completely different. Like you were saying in the beginning of our conversation today, calling you every couple of days, I need another healing, I need another healing, I need another healing. We give them the support and the guidance to heal, to find their center again, and to restore, to expand, to create a new way of being, a new expression, so that they can be sovereign in their spiritual path. And remember that they have the wisdom themselves. They have this inner
Exactly.
guidance. They have this inner whisper in their heart, remembering how to
And
connect with that.
and
This
that
is
makes me think a
powerful.
lot about the actual situation.
Yeah.
And that methodology is so based on ancestral wisdom, is really based on nature, environment, and the nature of being. And actually, I'm beginning a new project. I will tell you one day for the earth and the people.
Uh-huh.
So, what happened with the little something coming in the air and in the blood and in people's life and troubling the whole society and the whole world
Uh-huh.
made what we stop. And when we stopped traumatizing nature, nature knew exactly what to do to rebuild the whole ozone around the planet. Many people say, what do I need to do to save nature? I say, you just need to stop doing and give nature space. Nature's know how to restore itself. It doesn't need us. So when we do the methodologies, the same thing, giving space to our nature. Our nature knows what to do. It's the mind and all what has been all the beliefs and all those patches over us that just made us like being more traumatized, that just made like, I don't remember, I don't know, I'm scared, what do I? And then suddenly you give space and really deep inside your nature knows. So that's what we do when we guide the people into that approach, as it's based on ancestral wisdom and the 5 elements of nature. We reactivate those perceptors even into your cell
Mm.
memory
Mm.
that then remember how to restore. Exactly like nature is restoring itself, the ocean getting cleaner, the air getting fresher, the abundance of the earth with like so much more sprouts. We are here with all nature around us. We have so much food. We take the nettles, how do you
Uh-huh.
call it?
Uh-huh.
And I just go and grab them with the hands. And then we make soups with it and all raw, but with warm water. We make tartar. I learned to reawaken my own nature. We make our own garden. We have beautiful salad. And then we share with the neighbors. It's like a new economy happening.
Uh-huh.
And people can make a garden in their house, in their apartment, just a bit of grass.
Yeah.
And they can feed a whole family with just a few sprouted lentils. So just to go to more practical way on the outside of life too, I mean, in life we live in. But when we go into this inner process with the Dharma method, it's like finding those sprouts of energy that are inside of us that we began to doubt. And with always like those steps is like first we observe what was and that is still there. But that part that needs healing, somehow we create those patterns because it has served us into the society. But now if we try to go back the same way, it doesn't give us the same satisfaction. So that's when it's an alertness to say, it's my time to make that shift. But that is a leap of faith, is when fears transform into faith, to enter into that new reality. It's like I allow myself to enjoy life, or I enjoy life, or I listen to my rhythm. I do what feels right. Did they taught us that at school? Did they teach that at school in Florida for you?
No comment.
You know, in Switzerland now, they have schools where the kids are more in nature than in the classrooms.
Uh-huh.
And they learn from nature.
This is the
They
best
look at an
classroom.
animal and then all what they create and all what they learn, how to count, how to speak, how to everything, it's coming like the biomimicry. biomimicry. It's like
Uh-huh.
all those examples about reminding nature. So why not going back to reminding ourselves our own inner ecology so we can be with nature in a perfect harmony? And that's not only nature, the animals and the environment, but it's also the nature of other people around us. Because the more natural we are, what happens to the other people?
We become like a permission slip for them.
Yes,
I
I love that.
notice I noticed that. I noticed that time and time again. The more that I allow myself to really express what I'm feeling, even though sometimes it's new and it can feel uncomfortable. How will this person respond? But it doesn't matter how they respond. This is what I'm feeling in my
Mm,
heart. And then I see the other person, or they meet me there, or they just uh, vibrate out of my reality. So it's
mhm,
interesting because people see like, oh, like he's really laid back, like he's really easygoing, and he just is kind of playful and light. I feel comfortable to also be let go a little bit, take it easy, and just flow, just
mhm.
flow. Time and time again, I noticed this. So
Yeah,
this is really where we see the individual influences the collective. So when we rise, we all rise.
yes. And there is also this aspect into it. It's like surrender and rising, but there are also principles in that. And that's also a very particular aspect into that approach and that methodology. Um, when you notice that you rise and you open up, it's not just like, oh, okay, I'm free and I'm spiritual, you know? I feel actually it's more like I'm human. I feel more even. I'm I want to move more. I sense more. So it's really a growth as human being, that embodiment. And it also makes us recall about our own needs. And when we can be attentive to our own needs, we are also so much more sensitive to the own needs of other people. It's like we notice the other people more, and we become, we feel more human, really, because in this programming, when we reprogram our cell memory, we reprogram, but it happens like it's like a natural organic way, but it's contained, it's supported. And we do offer in the program those 2 months program, mainly to give a chance for you to feel the progress around you, not to say, okay, I'm completely shifted in my brain, my vision is different, my thoughts are different, so I need to cut everything around me. Like a woman in a relationship said, I need to divorce and just that's it, because I cannot be myself anymore. And I say, why about being yourself, but you will see with the husband and be yourself really with the husband. And suddenly, when she was really herself, she was bringing that magic around the house that actually the husband loved her more and respected her more. And then she was like, what happened? So instead of divorcing the husband, she divorced her belief, and she rebuilt her own confidence that she loved herself and she wanted to really embrace that caring energy around her. And somehow it rearranged the pieces. It's not always like that, okay? Sometimes people are no match anymore along the process, but it does happen quite surprisingly in many circumstances, even with some work where like, oh, I just go. Sometimes, no, just allow yourself to really take more of your place. Like in the confinement, we notice, or isolation, or I don't know, there is so many ways. We notice certain people having to live together. I found myself suddenly living with people I didn't know. And some people had to go off, a bit like the reality show.
Yeah.
And a few times I was ready to go.
Yeah.
A few times another person was ready to go, and we're all like just, and then somebody just left. And then the map is extending now, moving more
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yet you notice that if you find new place within the place, and everybody respect the place of everybody, and that's when we enter into an organic way of living. So there is this containment or support along the way with those 2 months program. That's why usually we like at least the 2 months program. And then sometimes people continue with a month session to make sure to stay in tune. And I think like this process of doing it along 2 months for transition make it very organic. What are your thoughts? What did you notice between like doing it just like once or into a longer process or shorter process?
So the difference between just like drop in one session versus the full 7 week or 7 sessions. Sometimes it can be once a week. Sometimes we skip a week if it goes really deep and needs more time to be embodied. You know, they both have a time and a place for sure. The In my experience, I love going directly into the 7 session because the first few sessions, it takes time to just get used to this this type of exploration where we recognize what is this main stress, releasing that, connecting with now a new expression, a new gift, and learning how to integrate that every day throughout the week. We build a muscle memory to this way. Every week, we learn to recognize, accept, clear, let go, and allow this next phase to blossom. And from here, we can go so much deeper. But the beauty is going deep doesn't mean suffering more. I think I have noticed sometimes not going into those places is actually what causes and perpetuates the suffering to continue. But when we go in, many times we see actually the deeper I go, the more compassion that I have for myself and the ways that I learned, the patterns that I modeled after uh, a parental figure or a loved one or a teacher, etc. And see, the deeper that I go in, the more I can expand and reconnect with my essence. Who am I? What is it that I enjoy doing as a hobby for fun? Who are the kind of people that really support me to be me? So this is when the 7 session is super helpful for people that are really wanting to make that change. And
And
then
there
like
is
you were
that.
sharing once a month afterwards doing like a tune-in just to um, realign, recalibrate. Perfect like this. Perfect.
It's a good balance. Also notice when there is the I and the myself and going deep in the me. Personally, I notice more and more when we do through the whole process. It's like I recognize myself, but then I transcend that, and I recognize that actually it's we. It's from the I we expand to the we. It bridge the world inside and outside. And when we arrive to that point where we feel that bridging, and I think that the fact really to observe from a one session, it's very positive to have a one session exclusively for the beginning. You may want just one coaching session, go and explore what is there. And many times just what you needed of the moment. I mean, always, it's just like exactly what you needed at the moment. Yet when we go through all of those class sessions, you also receive a recording in between. You find your own mantra. You receive support in between one session to the other to manifest it. And each of the steps is really working on each of the frequency. So it's like you work usually first on yourself and then you work on you, but your relationship and how it's balancing with your relationships, or you and your work and your career, and how you can match who you are becoming with a career that really feels well with you, or a community or like-minded people. I have noticed people like having that shift at the beginning, that awakening, that openness, and then it comes suddenly, they notice around them they find more like-minded people where they were not really feeling confident to be with. Sometimes it happens to myself. I'm like, how can I be surrounded by those amazing people? And then they say, because you're amazing as well. I'm like, really? it's really a blessing to notice that it's a work like from inside. Suddenly it's like the outside is a mirror. And we create that togetherness. We begin to observe that who we are bridge with our relationship, and the dance is smoother and the interaction is better. Some people even at work that can be very bossy or anything, and we just like squeeze behind, and then suddenly we're like, actually if I'm myself, many times the other one begin to say, there is somebody I forgot. I worked with someone who had a situation at the work, and they were always like closing themselves in front of their authority. And then they were just like, actually, I'm myself. And the authority was like, I never saw that person. Of course, if you always close down, the other person will never see you. If you open up, you give them a chance to see yourself, and you can also see them better. So it's like all those charabia mental, how we say in French, is like all this blah blah in the head that doesn't let us really see, receive, interconnect with around us, with the people, with the market, with the plants, with the smells, with that present moment. Because right now, that from that inner place, we get in a shift of the frequency. It happened to me 1 a.m, very clear one. And then in the next 2 hours was like plenty of signs, a message from someone, an email from another person, and I was like, impressive. So this program really, it's very specific. It has 7 maps. It's usually on a 2-month, then a once a month is a good continuation. It's based on the 5 elements of nature, which is also based on the 5 bodies: psychological, behavioral, energetic, which is the one that is more the rhythm that we are in, emotional and relationship, physical, because all our emotion, and it's scientifically proven, all our emotion are stored into our body. You can learn about it by reading about Candace Perth. She explained the molecules, the memory of the emotion, how they are stored in the body. And then through the work we do, we directly make that possibility of relief and openness. The belief system are also stored into our emotion and into the water, into the cells. And you can read more about it by learning from Masaru Emoto, who explained to you all the memory, like how the thought affects the emotion in ourselves and around us as well. So that makes you understand the correlation in between the mind and the body, in between the emotion and the body, and also in between the inside and the outside. You can also read much more about quantum healings and all of those. What we do with the map, we help you really understand exactly which belief, exactly where it is stored in your body. and which emotion is related to it and how it makes you respond to it. And then from there, how can you transcend it? 5 elements. So it's a perfect complementarity to understand the science behind it. And you have plenty of people, even like Joel Dispenza and all those people who explain all that. What we do with the Dharmi method, we just go exactly to what's you memory right now you want to move through and how you can exactly reprogram it just at this exact moment for what you need, because we are all in a different place on our path. But we are all walking together on this beautiful planet from Switzerland to
Maui.
Maui.
And everywhere in between.
Share. We're
Yeah, I'm
also
grateful.
beginning a new facilitated training. I decided to begin a shorter version of a facilitated training, which will be into 2 or 3 levels, but so that some people can already begin without having to go too deep and blocking everything right from the beginning. We'll begin a 3 months program of facilitated training that is live and online. It's not an online course that you buy and you do on your own. We are always with you. As long as we are here. We don't want to just drop you a course online and okay, you do it on your own, self-made. I believe too much still of that essence of connection together. So to know more, you can always contact us. It will be all updated on the website soon.
How can people contact you?
On the website, dharmi.com, DHARMI.com.
Beautiful.
And they contact you and me on that website. And also there is your personal website with also your music and the sound healing that is fabulous that you are doing and offering to the people. That is somehow what's born from your practice. So you do your map and then you just create painting and create music and embellish everything. So share with us your website as well, please.
It's GiulianoGeronimo.com, which is GiulianoGeronym, like Maui, .com.
Fantastic. And just to know that the Dharmi method is a map, is a support for you to be you. So like Giuliano at the beginning, he was a little confused. He was like, okay, I do the Dharmi method, but then I'm also that. Like, okay, you are yourself, but you use the methodology to support others. That's why I also have my personal website, ChristelleChopard.com, my first and last name.com, which is also for myself. Other aspect I do also. And our creativity continues all the time, and to just reflourish and create and to be alive. So if you like more information, contact us. We're here to support you. We offer online classes and coaching and support. And Giuliano is also excellent, really amazing into what he does. And I'm looking forward. We continue to support each other in many ways. And let's just decide to be fully alive. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity to connect and just express my gratitude for all the ways that I have grown and continue to grow with this methodology. So much that I've learned about myself and my gifts and what it is that really makes me me, and how many different expressions and iterations of expressions of myself that have come through in these Dharmi sessions. And even more gratitude to have the blessing and the privilege to support others with this methodology. How much profound change and transition I've seen in clients from different career fields, estheticians, doctors, nurse practitioners, fine artists, to see that this is universal. Healing and restoring is for everyone, and we all have the ability within ourselves. So thank you, Christelle, for this opportunity to express and share my experience, what I've lived, what I've learned. And thank you for your dedication to support the collective, especially during these times where we're having this chance to choose same
And
reaction or new response.
thank you. And thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being part of the journey, because we are all walking together. We are all learning from each other in many ways. And even just your thoughts, your presence with us is always welcome. If you want to just send a note, share any insights, you can share it here. You can contact us personally about any feeling that you have, or insight you have you like to share. You can do it publicly, you can do it personally. We're just really here to support each other's and to dance along life with as much ease and as much joy as possible, passing through all those waves, sometimes the ups, sometimes the downs, without any judgment to any of them. We can keep smiling.
Aho.
Thank you.